Hi friend. So I don't know if you ever experienced that, but if you go to a conference as an example and you're sitting in the audience, you're listening to the speaker and they start sharing, you know, like about a certain topic, and they go through and then they start quoting a book. So when they start quoting the book, you realize, oh, I never read that book. So you don't really know what it's about. They might quote the book like in a way that's just like not meant at all of the book, or you might just get like this little glimpse out of the book but not understand the whole book, right? Isn't that sometimes how we feel when we go to church too? You know, our pastors, they explain it so well, they give us such a great insight into the book, right? But then in the same way, like if we don't really know the book too well, how do we understand the context? How do we understand the, you know, all of it? And it's so important that we read it and that we study it and that we know it, right? So the Bible is like the foundation to everything in our Christian faith, right? Because it gives us guidance, it gives us direction, it gives us like ways to do things and what not to do. But how do we know that if we don't know the Bible, right? We can't. So for the next 29 months, because that's how long it takes to go through the whole Bible, I'm gonna do a blog every 2 weeks, okay? So 2 blogs a month on the Bible. And I go through 2 books a month. I'm gonna have a book from the Old Testament and I'm gonna have a book from New Testament, okay? In that blog, or that video, I'm gonna talk a little bit about like the context of that book, what it's about, and then maybe a little bit about the historical background, depending on the book, and then some things that stuck out to me. Again, I'm not a theological or theologian. These are things that spoke to me, right? And this is stuff I learned from it and that inspired me, that encouraged me, that lifted me up. So, or even gave me greater insight. So don't look at it from theological perspective, okay? These are things that just spoke to me and hopefully speak to you as well. So now how do we start this? We are actually gonna pick a book every 2 weeks, right? That's what I said, and do this blog. So you watch the blog and then you're gonna read the book for yourself. The best way to do it is 2 ways to study. So either way, you can read it in a shot. So that means like you're just sitting down and you're reading the whole book through all the way. Or you're gonna start studying split it up over a whole 2 weeks, and you split the book up into little passages, right? You read like 5 chapters or 6 chapters or whatever many you want to read in a day. There's benefits to both versions. So the benefit at reading it in one shot, all of it, which, you know, like have a book like Genesis takes you like 4 or 5 hours, but then you have a book that's only 10 minutes. So it depends if you have the time. Like I usually make a whole afternoon and just read the whole afternoon and study it through. And it's been amazing and it gave me great insight. So the benefit of reading the whole thing through in a shot is you actually get everything in the full context and you remember fresh and everything's there. If you study it split up, you actually can contain more information probably because you learn more, you can think more about it, you can think in those times in between more of what you read, which is also beneficial. So there's both ways that are great. So first of all, read it, right? Second, find somebody that reads it with you. Why is that important? If you read the book together with somebody, you can encourage each other, you can lift each other up, you can help each other, like hold each other accountable to not stop, but to keep reading. Because if you do it by yourself, like we all know it, like with New Year's resolution, like sometimes they're just gone like after a few days, right? And then we forget about it. But if you want to go through like all the way, it's good to have somebody else read it with you. You could also start a little group, like a WhatsApp group or whatever, with different people that want to join in and then study together with them and talk about it. You can also exchange ideas, what stuck out to you and what stuck out to them. It's a great way. It's really wonderful. So next, what do you need? Obviously you need a Bible, right? Any version's good, like whatever you want to study, just whatever one you like to read the best. I'm reading personally like a Jewish Bible, complete Jewish study Bible is mine called, and it gives a little bit more context of like where the faith came from, like from Israel, and so it gives a little bit more insight into festivals and stuff like that. It's a great way to read it. Also a great version, like to just read it and to go through it, is like the Message or the NLT. They're easy to understand, which is very beneficial as well. But pick a version you like, any is good. And then the next thing you need a marker. Why do you need a marker? So you highlight things in the book that you like, that spoke to you. So you want to like go through and like, if there's a verse, you just mark it, and that way when you look back later, you can see, oh, this really spoke to me at that time. The next thing you need is you need a journal. Okay, so you have a little journal with you, and that little journal you have with you, and you're going to tape down notes. You're going to write down, not type them down, I just all computer language in my head, but you write them down. You write all your notes down, everything that stuck out to you. So you have the highlighted part and you have the notes, so you can actually look at both, which is really great. So when you look back and you want to research some more, you have that information. I would also recommend, when you write the journal, always leave a little bit space with the different books. So if you read it again, you can actually write more context into the journal to a certain book, depending on the length of the book too. Then when you now you needed, like I said, like a person to study with. You needed the Bible, you needed a highlighter, and you need a journal. So the next thing you need is a spot you can read where you're not interrupted, like a peaceful place like this one here. Look, it's really quiet and peaceful. It's like in the middle, a little park, or wherever you find peace, wherever it's peaceful for you, whatever works for you. So find that spot where it can be quiet and you can just read and nobody interrupts you. And when you're there, that's perfect. And then the last thing you need, what I recommend, but it can also be distracting, is a phone. Why? Because like sometimes when you read, you want to look up something real quick about like what you're reading, and Google's great for that. So you can like just Google something and you find the information and you're like, oh, now I get a greater understanding. So it's very helpful. So yeah, these are all the things you need, and we're gonna start with this next week. So you have like a week to get a Bible, get a highlighter, get a group together of people that want to study with you, and also get a journal. A phone you probably already have. So yeah, so join our journey and learn really the foundations of our faith. Like learn from the Bible, learn like actually what's in the book, and so you actually know the whole story of redemption that God brings there. You know the true love of our Father, like how He loves each one of us, and not just like those little pieces where you might get a wrong perspective. So read it through, be inspired, be encouraged, and join us on this journey. And again, we're gonna finish the book, we're gonna finish reading it in May 2023. So like, there's plenty of time. So yeah, get started. Have a blessed week. Bye.